Phase Hero episode 33 starts right now. Welcome to the show, BD here. It's Friday night. We got Jenna Anderson.
Hey, everybody.
We got Aaron Perrine.
What's going on, everybody?
Oh, what's going on is we got to talk about Captain America Brave New World, baby. The movie's finally in theaters. The world has seen it. And if you haven't, you see that little warning down there because we got cool graphics on Phase Hero now. It says spoiler warning because this is your spoiler-filled review of Captain America Brave New World. Thank you all for spending your Friday night with us. Happy Valentine's Day. All of you people out there having wonderful cap dates. I hope it's a wonderful weekend for everybody, but I'm glad you're here with us on a Friday night or listening to us in podcast form wherever you're listening. So today's episode, this is the Captain America Brave New World spoiler-filled review. A little bit of news real quick before that. We are moving to Mondays. Phase Hero will be recording on Mondays at 2 p.m. Eastern time. That is our time, right? Mm-hmm. 2 p.m. Eastern time, starting in March. And that's because we want to do Daredevil episodes. So we will be doing Daredevil Born Again episodes after episodes air, which I think they're going to be at night. I think that's going to be like primetime America release. That's not confirmation. That's not inside. I'm just pretty sure. So if an episode ends at 6:45 p.m. Pacific time, we will be live at 6:46 for Daredevil on Wednesdays, but on Mondays at 2 p.m. Eastern time, we'll be doing our weekly shows just so we can not be piling the episodes on top of each other. Tonight's not about new episodes. Tonight's not about Daredevil. Tonight's about one movie and our special guest who's here to help us review it. Please, comment section, I better see it light up like Sheamus's chest after a match with Gunther. I want to hear it for Fantastic Frankey, the host of DC's DC Studios Showcase, a media personality, and an all-around absolute legend. Frankie, thanks for being here.
Yay! That was an amazing intro. I'm so excited.
I was like, how do I make this worthy of Frankie? Frankie, you have like the best energy. You're so knowledgeable. You're doing incredible work, and it's you deserve a worthy entrance to Phase Hero. Thank you for being here.
Oh my gosh, thank you. You all are my favorite. I'm always really excited whenever Brandon's like, would you do the show? I'm like, are you kidding me? I'm on Phase Hero. You guys are huge. You're huge, and you're honestly, and I'm not here to glaze, my inspiration, all of you. Like what you're doing on your own, everything, I absolutely love it. And every day I'm like, I need to be like this crew. Like I need to make sure that my branding and everything in my community is just as locked in as y'all are. I don't even got a team together like y'all are. Fire. So thank you for letting me join.
Continue, keep going.
Seriously.
I want to shout out our comment section. That community you just mentioned, we love them. Thomas, you said Frankie, Jack Sparrow, no way. DC Film News, LFG Frankie. Jordan, hey girl, Frankie, you bought a fan group. This group is fantastic. The team up we
I shared it with everything.
Jack Sparrow just said, I was just watching today's DC podcast.
Oh, I tested my co-host. Let's see if you guys can, well, not you, Aaron, but let's see if Jenna and Brandon can pass the test that I did on today's episode. So I'll start with you, Jenna. This is easy. Can you name 5 Black superheroes without lightning powers?
Bumblebee.
Okay.
Oh my gosh, I feel very put on the spot. This is
That's the point. That's the point.
Yeah.
I got a few.
Hold on. Go for it.
Captain America.
Oh, true. Yeah.
T'Challa, Shuri, Jon Stewart, Sam Wilson.
Cyborg.
Cyborg, yes.
He's electric,
Look at that.
but he's not,
He's not, is that electricity? It's alien something, but okay, I'll give you that.
Jenna, we passed. We did it.
Jenna passed. Brandon, you have a different one, which is
oh no, I answered Jenna's question.
Yeah, you answered.
Thank you for the help. Maybe I can help you. We'll see.
In the hit TV show Arrow, which was the first live introduction of Mr. Terrific, the character comes out every time they go to suit up and his hair changes from an afro to straight back braids. How is he able to achieve this in time to join in on the fights?
I don't know if I even understand the question.
So every time that Mr. Terrific goes to suit up, like they
Yeah, his
all
hair
go to suit
changes.
up, his hair changes into straight black braids. But it can't be longer than 5 minutes. How does he get straight black braids in 5 minutes?
I don't know. It's quick speed. The Flash does it.
The Flash does it. There were,
I
there
don't.
were,
I'm not a
there were-
CW verse X. I don't. I'm
They
not
don't
a
even
CW.
really explain it in
They
the
don't.
show.
I made it up. There
Yeah,
are two answers.
I'm glad that you brought it up because I have always wondered this as well watching the show.
There were two answers that I would accept. The first one is a T-Spheres, that they do it for him while he's suiting up really quickly. And the second answer is the Ancestors, which I made up.
That was also my second answer after the Flash. So here,
right.
Yeah, no. All right. Well, that usually we're the ones doing the icebreakers for our
Okay.
guests, but you honestly crushed that. So thank you for giving us the best possible open to this review. That was fun.
Happy
And
Black
the comment
History
section
Month.
loved it. Comment section loved it. I think we're gonna learn from you on that. And next time we have people, we're gonna start throwing some fun stuff at them just like that. I used to do that on a podcast, just throw kind of here's an on the spot icebreaker for you. But now I don't know. My
We need
prep
to
has
start
gotten.
quizzing Cam Hayward next time he's on. We need to start
Oh,
asking
no.
him trivia
Yeah.
on the spot.
Yeah.
The trick is to make it up and to make it ridiculous, and it makes it more fun.
I was like, wait a second, I just don't know the answer. But then I was like,
There is no answer.
There is no answer.
All right. Captain America Brave New World. You're here for the review. You're gonna get it. Let's go around real quick. No ranking yet. We're gonna save the 10 score for the end of the episode. But just as if the social media embargo just lifted, but you're allowed spoilers now because everybody's seen it. This is the spoiler warning. It's happening now. The social media embargo plus spoilers just lifted. Jenna, what did you think? We'll go around that way.
I liked a lot of it. I definitely agree that it has some flaws. That is definitely the sentiment that has been expressed on social media. I have a feeling we're going to talk about this a lot, but I feel like a lot of the twists and turns of the movie itself were already revealed in the marketing or very heavily telegraphed. And like Aaron and I were talking about it of like, imagine being a person who knows absolutely nothing going into this movie. You probably have a wildly different experience than any of us do being plugged in. I think the performances are great. I think that everyone is having a lot of fun. I like I said, I wish that the movie did certain things better, but it is far from the lowest or worst or most intentionally bad superhero movie that we've had in a long while.
Yeah. Aaron, what'd you think?
I actually enjoyed myself quite a bit. It's not a perfect movie by any means at all, but I did have fun and it was interesting. And then seeing that critical reaction roll out was pretty wild. Like it was pretty. I was like,
Yeah.
what's going on? I understood what Brandon was talking about. He's like, I feel like I'm the only sane man left on earth. What happened here? Like, I don't understand what, but I never get really that worked up about these things anyway. I think it really does a good job of establishing Sam Wilson as Captain America moving forward with similar approaches that call back to Steve Rogers, but still are himself. Danny Ramirez, keep lifting. You're going to be here for a while. You were delightful in this. You're super fun. I agree with Brandon. How did he sneak all this Miami gear on set? I have no idea. Miami Heat, Miami Hurricane agenda was in full effect. I have no idea that happened.
They better have paid off his student loans for that.
I mean, for real. Like, he's doing some real recruiting. There's some NIL bag man vibes going on in this film. I don't know what's going on. Carl Lumbly is the heart of the film. Like the absolute heart of the film, beating heart of the film, and it is delightful. And I wish there was more probably with him. I'm like, dang, you could have got my guy out here for a fight. We'll talk about some of the other stuff that went on. I think that this is a case where the general audiences, when it premiered right today, the audience score was around like an 80 or 90, like an 80 or 79. And I'm like, yeah, that's about right. So the truth is probably somewhere between that and that 50 critic score. I had a good time.
Yeah. Frankie, what about you?
Yeah, I enjoyed it. I went in there with the lowest of expectations. And I left, and I think it didn't just meet it, it exceeded it, which I thought was great. I thought the action was incredible. I think Anthony Mackie is a great leading man. Like, I've never seen him lead a film, and I thought he did a great job. I thought he looked great. I thought the suit looked great. The action was good. I heard someone say that they didn't like the CGI. I thought the Red Hulk looked incredible. I thought he looked really, really good. I think that this is I don't really watch trailers, and I did see the trailer for this film, and it reminded me exactly why I don't watch trailers because it like totally ruined like my people's perspective and expectations for the
Yep.
film. But I enjoyed it. I had a good time. It felt like an old MCU movie.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. It felt like an Infinity Saga movie.
Yeah.
Like, I like the movie. Is this my favorite movie ever? Favorite Marvel movie? No, it's neither of those. But it's certainly not this. I don't know. To me, a 50% movie. Like, this is better than Thor 2, Iron Man 2,
Mm-hmm.
Quantumania. It's better than Captain Marvel. It's better than a lot of
Yeah.
movies. And I know that one people like more than me, and some people like less than me. But it's better than a lot of Marvel movies. Like, it's somewhere in the middle for me.
Yeah.
It's kind of on par with the Incredible Hulk, which in my opinion has aged well. I would say it's probably a little bit better than Incredible Hulk, but I rewatched Incredible Hulk to get ready for this, and this is more of a sequel to that than I ever thought we'd get.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I enjoyed it. I liked it. I think the trailers did show way too much. This was so marketed as a Red Hulk movie that there was absolutely no surprise. As soon as Thaddeus walked out and I saw that podium in the distance on that shot from behind, it's like, well, we know how this scene ends.
Mhm.
So it took a lot of the suspense out of that part. But I think my favorite part of this movie is how it really showed the character of Sam Wilson. Like, not through the action, but through the dialogue. It really let his personality and why he's worthy of the mantle be just on display through who he is at his core in those moments with Joaquin and with Isaiah and even with the president and the way he handles these situations and with Layla, the security guard who was always around. Like, I think that it really just gave us an opportunity to get to know Sam and just buy into, yes, this guy can lead the Avengers. This guy is pure. This guy is good. And he's not going to give up. And he's going to do it the hard way. And I liked that. There's parts I didn't like. Like, I think some of it, like the villain felt too secondary. The leader just felt kind of like a tonally different, weird, out of place afterthought in the movie in a lot of ways until he wasn't. And the CGI was phenomenal. I thought Red Hulk looked incredibly, incredibly good. Like, I want some of those 4K shots, like those action scenes. And I didn't really love the ending in terms of the fact that Sam just talked Red Hulk down. Actually, let's just start there. Let's let that be our first conversation. Let's start at the end. Sam fights Red Hulk. This isn't just a human fighting Red Hulk. It is a human with Wakandan tech and super training fighting Red Hulk. So you give John Wick a damn super suit, and I think, all of a sudden people are going to be buying it. But, I don't.
Spoilers for like John Wick 8 or something.
I
They're
was
going to give him a super suit eventually now.
Yeah.
And he
But
still got cooked. You know
what
what
do
I
you
mean?
guys
Like,
think about the fact that the fight ended with Sam sort of getting the best of Red Hulk, but ultimately Red Hulk was still ready to one punch him, and Sam talked him out of it?
yeah, I think that's the only way Sam could have won was talk Jitsu. Like, if Sam won any other way, I think people would have been upset. Like, how could he have beaten the Red Hulk? There's no way. But at least with this, I was like, okay, this is the only way Sam can get out of it is to talk him down. I thought he was going to pull his daughter out. I thought his daughter was going to do it instead. I think that would have been a little bit more satisfying, but there was no way for Sam to act, even with that gear, to beat him.
So much better.
I
What if he
know.
intentionally flew to wherever Betty was?
Yeah.
I don't know why these movies never consult me. They never put me in these rooms before they do that.
Craig, you have so many jobs. You want another job?
Why not? You know, I'm West Indian and Puerto Rican, and it's just like in my blood to work all day.
Jenna, what'd you think of that ending part?
I did like the creativity of that final fight. Like, I liked him like using the spikes out of the wings and everything, and just all of the different ways to like incapacitate Red Hulk. But I do agree that one of the biggest complaints out of Falcon and Winter Soldier was the ending basically being like an after school special sort of speech. And it felt like we kind of went back to that again.
Mhm.
And I think for how long we teased Red Hulk, for as long as people wanted Red Hulk to eventually have that be the thing, I agree that like Betty would have been a perfect way emotionally to get us to a similar sort of place and not need to have us just like have it be Sam. But it still was a testament to who Sam is as a character that he could successfully do that.
That's fair. You guys convinced me a little bit.
I watch a lot of anime. He literally Naruto no Jutsu'd Hulk at the end of it. Yeah, he literally walked up and was like, "This is not the way." And then he was like, "You're right, Captain America, my bad." But like Frankie said, I don't know how else you're supposed to defeat him. I mean, other than like walking Betty out there and be like, "Hey, here you go." I don't know. So I think it was cool to lampshade that the Wakandan tech could at least hurt the Hulk.
Yeah.
Because the discourse before the movie came out was always, how is he even going to land a punch? He's going to die. And I was like, the Wakandan suit is kind of powerful, guys. I think that you're not giving that enough credit. It's powerful enough that you're going to stage a multinational war for one rock that could beat it. So I think we should give them a little bit of credit.
And they show that throughout the film, right? While he's fighting other people, his punches are like hitting extra hard. Joaquin mentions it as well. So, I mean, that point, I think also I didn't want anyone to help Sam. And I think that was the point of that scene, right? Like, nobody's coming in to save him to help fight the Hulk. He's going to have to fight some of these things alone. And how's he going to handle it, especially if he is weaker, which will happen in multiple occasions because he doesn't have super strength. And I don't know. I didn't mind it. I expected it, I think. Once he started crushing his head, I said, "Oh yeah. He gonna find a way out of this."
Oh yeah. I loved seeing a big angry Hulk though. It's been a while.
Mm-hmm.
And this took me back to the first Avengers movie. Where, you know, when Hulk chased Black Widow through the helicarrier and he was just actually scary back then.
Yeah.
Everybody who listens to the show knows I'm not a smart Hulk fan. I am way more of a angry, scary Hulk fan, and it was nice to have that back. And the CGI on that character looked, I think they knew they had good visual effects, and there was a few shots they were like, you know what, hold that one just a second longer in IMAX ratio because it looks really good and we want to let them know. And I respect it.
On the topic of like anime visuals, there's the one shot when he like has the flag in his hand and he's like on top of the White House and just like screaming. And I was like, this is some comic book like anime stuff. And like, I'm glad that we're getting to this point. I think one of my problems with this movie as a whole is like, I wanted almost more of that and less of the just hardened conspiracy theory that then we already knew the answer to. Like the tonal difference was one thing, but just when we got moments like that, I was like, hell yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I love the moments where we got like the sonic boom clap. We got Hulk jumping like Hulk jumps. Catch it. That bit. What is that? That big tall building that they made up for Spider-Man: Homecoming.
The Washington Monument. Yeah.
I'm just kidding. I know it's just so cool that they brought they built a real life building from the thing from Spider-Man: Homecoming. So this all leads to the credit scene. We'll talk about the credit scene too, and then we'll just get into the details of the film itself. With Leader in jail. Unmentionedly, but presumably just right next door to Ross, because Ross is in jail too. So I imagine the two of them are just yapping through the bars there. But he says a whole speech about, you know, your world can fight, your heroes can fight here, but you know, can you fight the other worlds? The others are coming. Not a Lost crossover, but the others are coming. And this to me felt like a very safe credit scene intended for people who aren't paying attention to Marvel news.
Yeah.
You know?
Aaron knows I have thoughts on this.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
The biggest takeaway that I and my fiance had walking out of this is they gave him the same role that Psycho Pirate has in Crisis on Infinite Earths in the comics. He's literally in jail, going crazy, believes that this multiversal thing is on the horizon and starts warning other people about it. And they're like, we shouldn't trust you because you're kind of just like a low-level villain, but okay, we'll keep that in the back of our minds. And then Crisis happens anyway. And so seeing that scene, I like almost started laughing because it's like they gave him that exact gimmick. It works, like you said, within the context of Secret Wars being right around the corner and we only have so many movies to really get people ready to go for it. But it was the wildest thing to see that given to Leader.
Yeah. I guess my thing too was that Ant-Man was brought up so many times. And I was like, is he gonna tell him about Kang? Like, is he gonna tell him about the even not even Kang, but like the Secret Wars and like what he told him? And I thought that was the reason why they brought him up so many times. So when I saw again, it was another case of this scene, this is an okay scene, it's the wrong actor. Why is this guy telling us instead of Ant-Man? Like, yeah, and it could have been funny and entertaining to have Paul Rudd there and be like, listen, man, this guy was really spooky and he said this thing to me and maybe we should look out for this. You know what I mean? I don't know.
I'm kind
I
of
was underwhelmed.
I'm expecting Kang to get just as much recognition as Secret Invasion going forward.
Yeah.
I think neither are going to be really strongly mentioned at all.
They're on their Jonathan Majors is on his redemption tour. He got 3 more months in purgatory, I think.
But that doesn't mean they'll rehire him.
Not only what's that?
Aren't they talking about rehiring him?
I see that from like the Marvel rumor aggregate Twitter accounts, not anything that
real.
Yeah.
I do see his redemption tour on. Once he got engaged, I saw that. And this Oscar movie coming out. I saw in an article Michael B. Jordan said he'd forgive him.
But
it's on the way.
Even with that situation, like even with everything that has happened with Jonathan Majors that led to him getting fired or whatever you'd call it from the MCU, from the Kang role, Kang also just wasn't a ticket seller. And that had nothing to do with Jonathan Majors or not. So I don't see like there's a risk involved in going back to that from the perception of, well, this guy was involved and convicted of different things and the problems surrounding him. Going back to it from like what would be the motivation to even take the chance? I don't know.
I am, to be clear, I'm not a big Jonathan Majors lover. Just to be clear, I just feel like they built so much of the first phase or this new phase around Kang and Secret Wars, and then he at least initiating Secret Wars. And I don't think that they need to mention Kang, but at least the activities that happened in those films. I think the issue wasn't Kang itself, but the way that they didn't know what to do with this one character. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think we cared about Kang because Kang wasn't scary. He was getting clapped every time we were introduced to him. He didn't hurt anyone. No one really had any issues. So it's like, why would he be as terrifying as like Thanos, who was just this like idea that was hanging over us? But I just wish that all this energy we put into this phase was used in some way. And to your point, I think Secret Invasion and that whole thing is just going to be forgotten, and we're just going to have to move on.
They literally had the president declare war on aliens to end Secret Invasion, and then we have a new president in this movie. And I asked Julius Onah today in an interview you can find it on the podcast, everybody, if you haven't listened to it. He was a really excellent interview. But he said, like, we never really considered Secret. We only considered the stories. And he didn't say we intentionally disregarded Secret Invasion, but he did say we only considered stories that directly involved characters in this movie. And I actually said back to him, I was like, nobody's mad at you for that. We don't.
We all forget it. We tuck it away.
Yeah.
Secret Invasion.
So going back to the post-credit scene, I just missed kind of the days of like the credit scenes actually being from other projects. Like I remember which movie had the scene with Sam and Bucky locked up, and was it Ant-Man that had the scene with Steve and Sam interrogating Bucky, basically leading into Civil War?
Yeah, that was Ant-Man.
Like those sort of moments were awesome, and you knew that payoff was coming. But I feel like the Marvel post-credit scenes have totally lost our trust because we ain't never seeing Harry Styles again. Are we ever going to see Brett Goldstein as Hercules? When is Jake Lockley showing up? What?
You literally just watched Eternals 2, technically.
Yeah, I mean, this was the biggest thing to this movie tied more pieces of the MCU together than anything else has post-Endgame.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, this is the crux. I joked with Jen about this earlier. I'm like, this was the tension, is that every movie can't be standalone and every movie can't move the plot together or tie everything together. And no matter which approach you take, there's going to be a segment of the fan base is going to be angry about it, right? Like I think Brandon is right. This one does take the most into account from the most MCU things by far. It's not even close. Like Incredible Hulk.
Yep.
Freaking Eternals.
Yep.
Falcon and Winter Soldier.
Yep.
Civil War.
Yep.
I'm trying to think about if there's anything. Is there anything else I'm missing, Jenna, that got brought into here?
I mean, that's the big stuff. Yeah.
Infinity War Endgame, because they talked about the snap randomly,
Yeah.
and Secret Invasion technically because they
We're
were
like
president.
preemptively setting up Thunderbolts with Bucky and
yeah.
the campaign.
Yeah,
and everything.
Okay, let's go there.
And
then.
Black
Let's go-
Widow because
go to
the
that
homegirl being
conversation.
in here. Like,
Yeah.
I'm surprised that She-Hulk wasn't involved because I thought she was going to represent
man.
Isaiah Bradley. I thought that was going to be his lawyer. And I was like,
Frankie,
why-
what are you doing? Talking
Holy
about
crap.
movies, you should be writing them.
too many jobs. Too many jobs.
If that actually would have been perfect.
It's the Hulk movie. I was like, oh, well, here goes She-Hulk. And I was like, why am I looking at Ruth right now? Like, who's going to represent?
See, I wish they hadn't done what they did to Sharon in Falcon and the
There
Winter
we
Soldier,
go.
because I feel like Sharon could have
Okay.
had the same role that Ruth did, and it could have been a much more interesting storyline of like, I am the niece of Peggy Carter, and I'm going to be Ross's head of security, and I'm going to butt heads with Sam and have a different view of the law and everything. But because we made her into the power broker and then have not touched that in years, or made her a Skrull retroactively, we couldn't
No.
even do that. So it's just
Yeah.
so many things.
Remember the Comic-Con like
Banner?
signage with her
Yeah.
in that white fit, like outfit that was to promote this movie? I wonder what happened to that. I do a little bit. I don't know.
Never get in Armor Wars.
No.
It is what it is. I guess. I don't know. I have no idea. I don't think the Earth's gonna be here in 5 years. So what do I know? What do I care?
Aaron, where you
it is
going
what it
instead?
is.
Aaron, I know
talking
you're the
about
prophet, but
retiring
please
after
not
Secret
about
Wars.
that.
Everybody's like laughing, like, no, Aaron, don't be right about that. Stop.
Don't be right
I am
about
the
that.
psycho pirate of Face Hero.
Oh
That's
Oh my
right.
God. Kit Harington, another credit scene that never came to fruition.
Variety
Featuring
literally
the
had
voice
an article of like 18 post-credit scene cameos that have gone nowhere in
First
the
of all,
MCU. So
Can we say how funny it is that real trades are writing
Yeah.
articles we had used to write like
Yeah.
on two monsters? Why are you writing that? Variety, you went to like Northwestern or like Ohio University. Why are you writing that? That's crazy. Doesn't make sense.
The things that used to be free traffic.
Yeah, like literally,
for like
free
the
real
geek
estate.
digital media
yeah.
So where Jim Viscardi's ears just pricked up.
from his cell,
Yeah.
right there on the right.
He
You
was
wanted to
next
talk about
to
Bucky
you.
though.
I have a
No.
theory.
Oh, okay. Go to your theory then.
What if the leader wanted to end himself up on the raft because he knows all this stuff and his goal was always to get himself on the raft because he knew this would all happen? What if the raft ends up being the thing that is safe from an incursion?
Oh.
Well, oh God, because the thing is technically it's named the same thing, right, Jenna?
yeah.
This is a Martha situation, isn't it?
Yeah. I'm also curious of like them retroactively saying that
Yeah.
Beatty is like shimmying in his chair. The day that you are proven right will be delightful. I do like that theory. I also like that because then Trish Walker and Zemo are just chilling with him on the
Oh
raft.
yeah.
'Cause that is two of the three canonical people who have been on the raft for like the past decade. The thing that I'm curious about is like if Leader has been helping Ross this entire time, did he know that Civil War was going to end the way that it did and still like pushed him towards it anyway? Did he know Infinity? Like what is the extent to his knowledge? Like that is one bit of this that I'm like, okay, having him be pulling the strings for like a decade has flaws here.
The
Yeah, I
leader
mean,
is
that
the
is sort
most
of like the
prolific
scrolls
poster
being
on
retconned.
Right, Reddit. He's the most prolific poster. He's like, no, I'm serious, guys. He's right. You gotta listen to me. Hear me out.
Aaron, you're the leader of our podcast. You
Yeah.
always get shit right.
I hope
Every
I'm
time
not
Aaron
about
makes
what
a
I just
prediction, it
said.
happens.
Yeah.
You're either a time traveler or you got gamma on the brain.
Oh no, they figured me out, y'all.
Figured me
Aaron's
out.
he's gonna
me out.
vanish now.
All right. Jenna, what was it before my theory that
You
were
wanted
gonna
to
say?
talk about Bucky.
Bucky. Oh, Bucky.
That was the most my theater like came alive. Like
Yep.
the energy definitely shifted when that scene happened.
Oh, I thought you were gonna ask, how is he a congressman? Didn't he kill Kennedy or something? Like he killed a president? Like,
That also just proves that our country refuses to put an age limit on running for office.
Yeah.
with
What is
every
that? It's
Washington-
110 years old, right? 105, 110?
110. Yeah.
That's actually on par. He's
Yeah.
like, these are people he's in office with people he went to elementary school with. and they're just all
Yeah. So, but that does then lead straight into that Thunderbolts trailer where we saw Bucky at Val's hearing.
Mhm.
And obviously he's trying to work the law, but I think he might have to go full Matt Murdock and be like, well, the law ain't working for us, so let's do it the way we do it. But yeah, I love that scene. I think the chemistry between Mackie and Sebastian, like, it's just untouched. There's an energy in that scene that the rest of the movie didn't have.
Yeah. When he said "I love you" when he left, I was just like, my heart. Like, if you showed me that in 2014 at the height of like Captain America Winter Soldier fandom, I would have died. That scene was so good.
I agree.
Oh no!
For the audio listener,
from the
Didi
wall.
broke his camera.
Kill Brandon.
Flipped his camera over.
All that
But
love between Bucky
I
and
agree. I agree on their chemistry. Like, I knew Bucky was gonna walk up before he walked up. Like, it was, you could feel it in the air. It was tense, and I was like, my boy's coming.
I thought it was going to be Nick Fury.
Oh.
He's
I don't know
hurting
why.
cats.
You're too ghetto. You
Yeah,
need to
it's
tone
too
it down.
What? What'd you say?
He was quoting the halftime show.
Uncle
Oh
Sam.
my god. But no, I thought it would be Fury. I think my mind went to Fury because the scene in Winter Soldier where Fury dies
Mm-hmm.
reminded, like, I think I was reminded of that scene of somebody watching through the glass when it was Nick Fury on the table after he got hit with that sniper and he faked his death. I think that's why my brain went to Fury. But then as soon as Bucky showed up, I was like, oh, duh. Obviously, it's Bucky. That's amazing. But yeah, I'm curious to see. Okay, so let's answer this question from the comments real quick. Mackie and Thunderbolts. What do we think?
That would be nice to get like another Cap appearance from him before we start getting into the Avengers movies. Like, I would definitely be on board for that.
I hope so, but also not, because I don't want nothing bad to happen to him. They out here, like we
They doing
said, like
crazy stuff.
he erasing fools. That's not good. I'm like, keep my man away from. Oh.
I don't think so. I don't think we're gonna see Mackie for a minute.
I think maybe in the credit scene.
Maybe,
Yeah.
yeah, maybe.
We need
That's a good
something
film.
to
Yeah.
show that an Avengers team is coming together.
Yep.
This is Thunderbolts and then Fantastic Four and then 2 Avengers movies. So I hope so.
Spider-Man?
What?
Spider-Man?
Dang.
Well, if there's a Spider-Man, it's after Doomsday,
Yeah.
Yeah.
July of 26. I think. If there's is that next Sony date? I think, if that's even accurate anymore.
maybe Daredevil. He'll be in Daredevil.
I mean, that'd be cool. That would be cool. A lot of stuff going on in New York. A lot of stuff going on in New York.
Everybody want to taste. It's a nice. City.
All right, I got a whole list of Easter eggs here.
Oh.
So we don't have to spend time on all of them, but I'll just run through them. And if there's one you guys want to talk about, just cut me off. And or if there's anything you want to add, and Jenna, if you want to, okay, I can just run through them. And then, if you want to add to it when I run through it, go ahead. So here's what I found. We've kind of already talked about some of these, I think. Serpent Society. They are a group in comics, basically a mercenary group that is constantly hired to protect bad guys. They've worked with Kingpin. They've worked with a whole bunch of villains. They're just bad guys helping bad guys. Serpent is a member of the Serpent Society. They're also like Snake named characters, by the way. It was also a fake title for Captain America 3 during the announcement movie of Captain America Civil War, so that the whole event wouldn't focus on Civil War, but would instead focus on Serpent Society only for at the same event back when Marvel had that thing. I think it was in 2014 to announce their slate. Serpent, very much a different character in comics. He's like related to Odin. Debuted in Fear Itself in 2011. Was a story that very much involved Odin and Thor. That comic book, great story. No, I don't know, good story. Sidewanders, Seth Volker. That's Giancarlo Esposito's character. He looks more like Nina Mazursky in comics than a human, except he's like yellow and red. So he debuted in 1980. Julius said that they put Sidewinder in place of, well, he didn't say this, but I'm pretty confident it's in place of Rosa Salazar's character, which I know is the character Seth Rollins' character was most closely associated with in the movie. So I believe that's why they both, how they both went out. Julius said they were looking at trying to ground the characters. So my assumption is Rosa Salazar was playing Diamondback, and it was like almost like a Bullseye type character, but very pink and eccentric looking, and they decided to go with a much more grounded military looking character in Giancarlo. Rosa wasn't available during reshoots, and they worked with Giancarlo instead. Abe's Bar at the beginning, that's where Sam Wilson is having a drink. He doesn't have to pay for his drink. Abe's Bar. There's a bar called Abe's Head Bar in comics that the Red Hulk actually destroys at one point and has a very similar logo to what we saw in the bar there, just a green name plate. Ross had the mustache in a previous news broadcast and in photos referencing William Hurt's version of the character. Ross is called the Hulk Hunter because of his, the events of the Incredible Hulk. Footage from the Incredible Hulk was actually used in this movie. I found shocking because it's a Universal movie. I don't know how any of that works, but found that to be cool. Ross had a heart attack on the golf course in Civil War. Black Widow also, he tells that story in Captain America Civil War. Black Widow, the movie, also Natasha references his heart issues and says he's not looking well. So that all is used to fuel him getting this gamma pill thing that helps his heart, but also turns him into Red Hulk. In this movie, one of Ross's shooters, one of the people shooting at Ross in the White House that Joaquin sees on his computer screen is named Hunter Barcroft. And as much as that name sounds like a Marvel Comics character, that's actually a crew member on a lot of different Marvel movies, including Thor: Love and Thunder. So I think maybe they named him after one of the, it's like he's a guy who does like shipping. I think he's in charge of I don't know, but it's a crew member. The sound waves and VFX from the Incredible Hulk return we saw being used on Mackie. I don't know why the government suddenly didn't have those at all anywhere near the White House, knowing that these superheroes exist, but they didn't. I said Red Hulk brought his sonic boom clap and jumped like the Hulk. I loved seeing those things happen in a movie again. Bucky running for Congress, obviously direct tie to Thunderbolts. Karen Lee Ross, the wife of Thaddeus, was referenced in the Incredible Hulk. That is a comics accurate name. That's a comics accurate character in the MCU. She died in 1993, so it's been a while. Ross has been a single father for a very long time. Grayburn College, that was featured in the Incredible Hulk. That's where Stearns got his degree from. It's referenced on a thing on the wall. I saw that his diploma or degree is on the wall. Sam kicks the shield up at one point, reminded me of Steve Rogers doing it in the elevator fight like we saw there. So cool to see them having a couple things like they do in common with the shield. Danny, I just keep calling him Danny because Danny Ramirez. Joaquin keeps making jokes about Ant-Man and wanting to meet Ant-Man and stuff, and I think he might be teasing Sam about the fact that he met Ant-Man at Avengers HQ and got beat by him, kind of. So that might be fun. I assume Sam might have told him that story. And then, Isaiah breaks a punching bag, like punches a punching bag right off the chain. And that took me back to the Super Soldier Serum, allowing Steve Rogers to do that in the post-credit scene of Captain America, the First Avenger, in a scene which was later in the Avengers. And Jenna, you have these last two because I'm out of breath.
So I will say, expanding on your point about the Serpent Society and all of that, as Tom points out in the comments, RIP to the Diamondback McDonald's toy that they put out like a year ago when they did the little keychains for this movie. There was definitely merch of Rosa Salazar's character, and then she's ultimately not in the movie. I'm so tempted to go hunt for one of those on eBay now because it's just like lost media. It was interesting rewatching Incredible Hulk right before, like the night before seeing this movie, and just seeing both movies do the similar thing of we take a comic character and they are just a plainclothes civilian and we're just going to be fine with it because that's basically the Serpent Society. Because Copperhead is also in the Serpent Society. He's like the big guy that Sam leaves for the authorities, and he's a very similar sort of thing. In the comics, he fully has like a snake costume and does not wear any of that here. He's just a military guy. And then Sam's friend in the military who like investigates the pills for him and then ultimately leader kills is technically Demolition Man, who is a whole separate Captain America kind of sidekick hero. He starts out as a wrestler and then eventually becomes a superhero, and his costume basically looks like Wolverine's but with like yellow and red. So like completely missed that was him until I looked it up afterwards because they they barely refer to him even by his name.
Yeah. I find it interesting that they took these super powered characters from comics, like super powered characters that have crazy looks to them too. This is even more of a like, let's ground it down for audiences to accept it, which for the tone of the movie, I get it. I don't really care that they did this. I'm not like a comics purist that needs everything to be super comics accurate. When it is, it's awesome usually. When it's not, it's okay. In this case, I was okay with it. But this is an even stronger sort of downgrade for those characters than putting the X-Men in black suits instead of their costumes. Yep. Like it really takes, it's just their names. It's just names at this point. But it works. I mean, for the sake of the movie, I don't think anybody's begging for comics accurate Serpent Society in the movies.
Aaron and I were in the trenches for years. We were literally, as longtime listeners know, we were wanting the Serpent Society versus Sam for literal years. And then we finally get it, and they don't even say Serpent Society. They just called them Serpent.
Just Serpent. Frankie, how you feel about that?
The Serpent Society or the Easter eggs?
The Serpent Society of it all.
I would at least like them to like wear snakes on there. Like, I don't know.
Something.
I would have liked them a little bit more, but what can you do?
Aaron, defend our Serpent Society.
I would like to have faith in the audience to be able to go with it, but if you're really trying to ground it down, I guess. But like, dog, I like Seth Rollins in a wrestling ring. Can you imagine him with ridiculous waving arms, laughing like a maniac? It would have been really, really kind of
Seth would
outrageous. It would have looked crazy.
Did he have a coat?
Seth is alive. Seth Volkner is alive, so we could get a bigger, badder Serpent Society if there's ever a Captain America 5. The problem with this is you used to get these movies and you'd expect a sequel to come in the next few years or an Avengers movie in the next few years. With everything Marvel has done, like there is stuff in Cap 4 that I want to see followed up on, but I have no idea where the hell any of that fits in because the schedule is now just we're at Secret Wars now, basically this is our last check-in. It feels like before Doomsday and Secret Wars, which to me is a problem.
Even this film, I felt like we skipped through so much. Like all of a sudden, Sam had money. The entire public accepted them, which is also how I felt like it was a bait and switch with the trailers. The trailers made it feel like it was about him and his new role and like figuring out how his relationship with the president was going to be, all that jazz. But everything was established. He had this $1 million headquarters. He had these decked out trucks. Everybody respectfully called him Captain America. Even that line that they used in the trailer, it was like, "You're no Steve Rogers," wasn't even like an insult. He wasn't even like, "You're nothing." Like, he was like, "Why are you all up in my business? You're not a propaganda tool that was created by the government like Steve Rogers." It was closer to that than it was like, I don't know, a microaggression. And while I didn't want to watch him struggle the way that he struggled in Falcon and the Winter Soldier, I just felt like we took such a big leap and there had been no other check-ins. Like, we haven't seen him as Captain America in any of the other properties that we've seen, not even on a TV screen. No one joking about it. No, none of that. So I don't know. I felt like we skipped a lot. I am nervous about the next two install, especially with Fantastic Four. I don't know I know that's probably going to open up Secret Wars, but I don't know how it's going to tie in the Marvels or all these incredible characters that we have that we haven't even touched on. The Young Avenger, are they coming back?
If we never see Scar again, I'll be okay.
He's so funny. Brandon has you think you get rid of the Brandon angles by giving him Avengers Tower, but in the words of Kevin Feige, it's never enough.
It's never enough.
There's gonna be something else. He'll figure it out because there are enough paying things. They left it open for him to keep having this too. Like this is the thing they created for themselves.
I think that's part of why I enjoyed this movie is that it felt like it was kind of pulling some of the threads from this multiverse saga together, at least the grounded sacred timeline elements of it. And we didn't have everything. There's no Shang-Chi, no Yelena. There's a lot of different things. There's no Moon Knight. There's too many threads right now in the MCU, in my opinion. But hopefully these movies start to pull them together. These TV shows start to pull them together. We have a comment that says, how can you say that we have Thunderbolts and then F4 for check-ins? I meant for Captain America. We're probably not going to see most of the characters that have been blasted out in rapid fire form in the past few years before Doomsday, and who knows who will, but we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Can you put a percentage on, because the way that the post-credit scene turned out, I am now more convinced than ever that the premise of Doomsday is evil original 6 Avengers versus the new people. I am more convinced than I ever have been that that's what the
I wouldn't be mad about it.
I'm not gonna hold you if that's it. Our people gonna get cooked.
Yeah, exactly. They're gonna get that's true. 100%.
We are not ready for the old Avenger. Like, there's no one on the new Avengers that I think is as skilled or as talented as the new one. Do a freestyle for us, Brandon D. Facts.
Where's the Simu Liu tweet where he was talking about Jonathan Majors being jacked? He's like, "Yo, we're about to get cooked." Get that ready, Brandon.
I'm just wondering about the post-credit scenes. There's too many of them that we don't know what they mean. It's been 5 years since I've seen Shang-Chi. Give me a high five in the comments if you're rocking with me. Oh! Comment if
Very
you're
good.
listening in podcast form, the comments asked for a freestyle. That wasn't just
The comments also brought up Madam Web, and you ignored that part.
Yeah.
brought up what?
Madam
All
Web.
right. We got to wrap this up here. Anything else you guys want to talk about on the Captain America: Brave New World front before we get to our 10 scores?
I do find it interesting. I'm okay with them shorthanding how adamantium works, just of like it comes from Tiamat, it comes from the Celestial, because in the comics it does not work that way at all. It is like made up of all of these independent elements, and it's like a state secret to even know how to put it together. It's like the Krabby Patty secret formula kind of thing. I knew Aaron would like that joke. So it's like it's interesting to just make it a singular thing that they can pull adamantium from, and especially with like mutants and whatever else on the horizon, like that definitely changes things.
Yeah, and it makes it finite too, right?
Yeah.
Like they're gonna run out of it.
And it's in Japan, which obviously brings you right to some Wolverine storylines.
Yes.
I didn't even think about that. No, I love that whole. I felt like they were saying to us, like, here, y'all been talking about this Celestial for years. Here you go. We're bringing it up. We're talking about it. I thought it was a smart way. I'm sure when they did it, they weren't even thinking about making it into adamantium. But I was glad for the pivot. I like a political thriller. So I loved like that conflict between like Japan and America. The one issue I have is that the government, the high-ranking government officials are too clueless for me. I felt this way when Nick Fury didn't know anything about half his organization being Hydra. What? I was like, this is crazy to me. Like Amanda Waller, Cecil, none of them. They would know. And they'd be like, yeah, we do have a bunch of Nazis in here, but God damn it, they're cooking right now. Like they're really working. And the same thing with Harrison Ford. The guy you've been imprisoning is doing all this stuff for you and you don't know. And actually, someone in the comments said that's realistic. I think that that's a dangerous rhetoric that we push out, that our politicians are dumb. And they're not. They're not dumb. They've never been dumb. These are all Ivy League people who grew up being tutored in studies and knows the world and how to manipulate people. These are very knowledgeable people. And I cannot believe that this man got manipulated in such a way that he couldn't, I don't know. He was just too clueless for me. But that's a trend I see a lot with the government officials in Marvel. I'm like, I need to get it together. Even T'Challa not knowing that stuff with Bucky, I was like, you got spies everywhere. You need to get it together. You don't know about the Winter Soldier and this. I don't know.
You focus on where he's gonna land. Jenna, I have a long shot thing for you that I wanted to ask because we talked about this randomly. Do you think Joaquin is a mutant?
I don't know. I actually have never thought about that. I don't know.
In the comics, he has like he's like a mutant. Because he has like real falcon wings.
I feel like if we do find that out, it won't be for a long while. I feel like we would have to jump through some narrative hoops for that to happen. It's also in the comics, Red Wing is a real bird and not a drone. So it feels like with the Falcon mantle, they've definitely taken a more mechanical approach. So that would be cool though.
It's just interesting because when he got hurt and there's medical procedure, I'm like, you gotta watch out, end up on a table in this franchise. Like crazy stuff happens. And he's like,
that's how Deadpool's mutant gene got activated.
Yeah,
you know, but
that's what I'm saying. Like,
I think making Joaquin, if he's a mutant, that kind of takes out a lot of the power behind that last speech he gave from the hospital bed, which I thought was one of the most beautiful moments in the movie because it showed the dynamic between them, the heart of these characters, who Sam is, and how he's there for people. I also thought it was interesting. Sam surfed on a damn missile, which was awesome. I love that moment. The creativity of that, using Red Wing to keep the shield in flight behind him to cover himself was great. But also, you know, Joaquin is just the normal guy from Miami. And when he looked at the Avengers, he saw a soldier in Sam who he could be like, because they're both just human, you know, at the end of the day, which I guess if he has a mutant gene activated, that keeps it true that that's who he is at his core. But I don't know. It'd be interesting to see. He's the type of character I could see them doing that too, though.
I could, because I was like, well, this is random, and that has like something in the comics, and it gives our Captain America when people are mean to mutants and be like, whoa, hey, the first black man ever utter, some of my best friends. You gotta leave them alone. You better leave them alone. Like if I have
We gotta we gotta wrap this up. Oh, I'm so mad at myself for not asking Julius today what that funeral was that wasn't in the movie. Because there is a funeral scene in the first trailer that has an American flag draped over the coffin, and it's a
That's
very
right.
military looking funeral. I have no idea who that was supposed to be. Maybe it was Joaquin Torres. Like maybe he did, in one version he did die.
I
could
would have
see that.
rioted.
Same.
Oh man,
They made the right choice if they took that out, but I don't really know what that. One day it's going to come out whose funeral that was, but that day is not today on Phase Hero.
DM him, Brandon.
What?
Message him and ask. Say, I forgot this one thing, and it's keeping me up at night. I need.
I'll
to
ask. I'm gonna try to talk to Nate more soon,
Mm-hmm.
and I'll ask him. But I shouldn't have said that because now Kevin Feige's watching Phase Hero. He's gonna text Nate Moore and say, "Hey, Brandon Davis is gonna ask you."
Don't answer that.
Don't even go on a damn podcast. No, Marvel's been great. Marvel's been honestly huge thanks to the whole Marvel Studios team for just everything they've been willing to do with me and Phase Hero. I really appreciate that. So I'm just joking. But all right, 10 scores, and then we'll give it the average. Frankie, let's have you go first. What would you rank this out of 10?
I would give it a solid 7.5.
7.5.
Yeah,
Wow,
I think it's
okay.
solid. And 8 if we include Joaquin Torres topless. He gets his side. He's grown too. I looked it up. He's 32, the actor. So
You got. Sorry, you only get Harrison Ford topless.
We actually got him. That's one thing I forgot to mention. This was crazy propaganda for old men because they were the most dangerous. Isaiah, Harrison Ford, Giancarlo Esposito. I was like, these old men are all so dangerous. But okay, I'll leave it at 7.
Watch out, Rick Flag. All right, Aaron, 10 score.
Oh boy, I think I was gonna land on a 7.5 too. I might bump it up to a 7.8 now. You convinced me. They're in the pocket of big old dude,
Wait,
along with Old Spice and other podcast sponsorships that we might get at some point. So 7.8.
7.8. Jenna,
Big AARP.
Jamie's gonna come back and be like, "Oh, cool, we have this like the daddy zaddy market just down."
Yeah.
She's gonna be delighted. I'm gonna say a 7.2.
7.2. All right, Jamie gave it a 6.9. She texted that to me, and I'm gonna give this. Man, I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm really torn between a 6.9 and a 7.
Mm-hmm.
Just because 6 and 7 feel like different numbers. 6 feels harsh, 7 feels generous. Like 6.9 is right there. I think I have to go with a 6.9 because I think I liked a lot of the like what this movie did for things going on outside of the movie. And I don't know. Like I really like the movie. It's not my favorite movie. I thought it was good. No, I'm going 7. I'm going 7. Straight up 7. Because it's good. It's a good movie. It's not great. It's not amazing. It's definitely not bad. To me, it's a 7. I liked it. This made me like Sam Wilson more than I ever have before. And that to me is a huge, that's an important thing for this movie to do, to establish, yes, this man straight up deserves to be Captain America. Here is who he is. You should look forward to seeing him again now. And now I look forward to seeing him more than I did before this movie. Anyway, averaging the 5 scores there. Myself, Jenna, Aaron, Jamie, who couldn't make it tonight, and our special guest, Frankie. That gives the Phase Hero score for Captain America Brave New World a 7.28 out of 10. Wow, it's just the whole reflection. That's what you can see on my screen. A 7.28 out of 10 for Captain America Brave New World. I feel like I like that score.
Yeah.
I think so too.
I think that's a pretty fair place for this one to land. All right, 7.2. Comment section is all over the place. Tony Oswald, spot on with us, says, I'm going to go 7.2. We got Jordan Powell, 7.8. Bible Alive production presentations, says Lucky 7. Whoa, a lot of 7s. Yeah, you're right. Candell, 7. We got Mushfiker, 7. 6, 7. Will McLean, 7. We got a lot of 7s. Wow, I feel better about my 7 now. All right, y'all. Thank you for spending Valentine's Day with us and talking about our 7 ranked Captain America: Brave New World. Aaron, any last words for today's show?
Oh boy, it's at Summer Lake Hornet on all the platforms. For Jamie, who is not here, she wants to thank you guys for coming and hanging out. She has an episode of Love the Tamahadra for the Patreon subscribers about Agent Carter with writer Leah Merrill. So if you want to hear her and Tony go over other parts of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, she's sitting there waiting for the day where they'll make a weird stealth sequel to Hydra.
Yeah.
And maybe it will one day. One day, Shield will come back. One day, Quake will come back. Everything's coming back. We'll be fine. Thanks for rocking with us, guys.
Jenna, what you got?
It's at Hey It's Jenna Lynn on social media. As always, go read some comics and go subscribe to my YouTube channel, which is at Go Read Some Comics. I have an interview with Nicole Maines about her new Secret Six book and just about DC, and it's super fun, super chaotic. People are really enjoying that. And I now have merch, so you can go check that out.
Let's go. Frankie, thank you so much for joining us today. Any last words for today's show?
Of course. If you guys don't, please follow me. I talk to people all the time. At Fantastic Frankey, Frankie spelled Frankey, or you could check out my show on Max or Max's YouTube or anywhere where there's podcasts. It's called DC Studio Showcase. I do it with Tyler Coates and Coy Jandro, who I'm sure you guys are a bunch of nerds. You know him from Real Rejects. He's amazing. So yeah, check us out.
I don't think I've ever met Tyler, but I do know Coy. Coy is a great human being, great host, loves comics, loves DC. What you guys are doing on DC Studio Showcase, it's so cool. They picked the right people for that job. I love it for you. And if you're not following Frankie, go find her at Fantastic Frankey. It is great energy. It's insights. You'll learn something. You'll have a good time with everything she posts. I promise it's worth the follow. Thank you so much to Frankie for joining us on Face Hero. I told her we'd be done at least 20 minutes ago, so I'm going to be quick here. Play our show for your dad, play it for your cat. Subscribe to the channel. Carl Lumbly interview on Monday. Thank you so much, everybody. Share your 10 scores and have a wonderful Valentine's Day weekend. Bye.